And now, 6 Sports March to Glory.
Akins with a head of steam. Akins take it off!
This team is maybe not your typical Michigan State team.
Driving to the hole.
I think this team could make a run, you know. That's what it's all about.
It is hard to process. I think it's really hard for our student athletes to process. It's hard for everybody to process.
He kicks it out to Walker. He's got 5 on the shot clock. He'll pull it.
It wasn't something that I went into the year thinking about. It just happened. The real part of it that matters is consistency.
Everyone always jokes about Tom Izzo being Mr. March, but after the milestone he was able to accomplish on Selection Sunday this year, he truly is the master of this month. For 25 straight years, he has made sure his Michigan State teams find a way to relish in the glory of the big dance, something no other coach in Division I hoops can say. Michigan State's football coach Mel Tucker even referred to Izzo as a living legend this week, which we'll get to a little later in the show. And do we ever have a great hour ahead? I'm Audrey Dahlgren. With their bid to the tourney, Izzo passed his former Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski to become the first coach in NCAA history to reach 25 straight NCAA tournaments. The Spartans gathered at the Breslin Center for a watch party on Sunday to see where they'd land. And once they knew they were in, that's when the cake and signs came out to celebrate Izzo's historic day. The athletic staff also surprised him with a video by highlighting some of his most magical moments in March. It was narrated by CBS college basketball analyst Bill Rafferty, and it's a milestone Izzo is very grateful for.
Well, it means the world to me. It means I had a lot of good players. It means that I had a lot of good staff. It means that I had a lot of good fans. You don't win games over a period of time because of what you do. You win games because there's a collection of people that are all doing their job.
It's just a great achievement for Coach Izzo. I mean, 25, setting the records. It's unbelievable for him. So, but he wouldn't want us to do anything more than to just put that aside now and just focus on our opponent.
Well, for the first time in a long time, the Spartans held a watch party, and it wasn't because of Izzo's accomplishment. He wanted his players to feel the excitement again of seeing and hearing their name pop up on the screen instead of thinking, here we go again. And to begin this year's March to Glory, they're staying in Big Ten country.
Now, first and second round games in Columbus, Ohio on Friday and Sunday. The Spartans of Michigan State.
The Spartans are the number 7 seed in the East region, and they will face number 10 USC on Friday at Nationwide Arena, a game you'll be able to watch right here on TV6, and tip-off is set for 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Izzo couldn't be happier with the location. He really didn't want to go out west somewhere and play on a Thursday, and with them staying in the Midwest, it's a lot more convenient for them, their families, and the fans. Izzo mentioned after the selection show how he had watched a few of USC's games this year when he was up late at night and couldn't sleep. And right off the bat, if he was sitting next to someone at a bar, how would he describe the Trojans to them?
You know, what is great about March? Right now, there's 12 managers up there. And I swear to God, I just said, order pizzas, order, the chicken wings. And, this is when you eat crappy, you don't sleep, and they're like Santa's elves. These guys work so hard, and they're all getting their info now. Who's got this? Who's got that? I just kind of gleamed. Like, that to me is what it's all about. You know, that's a memory maker, those kids. I mean, they are going to have an impact on us. So I'll know more about them. You know, I really, other than a guard and a couple big guys.
Well, now that it's Wednesday, Izzo, of course, knows a whole lot more about the Trojans and has watched their games with a bit more vigor. And he knows they know how to lock down on defense. It's where it all started for USC under head coach Andy Enfield. Throughout the regular season, the Trojans were able to hold their opponents to under 40% from the field. There are also only been 2 games this season where they've allowed the opposition to shoot 50% or higher from the floor. That's incredible. This will be USC's 3rd straight appearance in the Big Dance. So what do the players make of them after watching the Trojans on film?
They're a good team. They got good players. They can shoot it. They can score it. They got size inside and out. They're in a good conference. They play really well versus the top teams in their conference. So it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be an up and down game, and just got to continue watching film and studying and learning those guys. It's a new style of play for us. The Pac-12 is a little different than the Big Ten. So just got to learn those guys and just study.
I feel like all leagues are different how they play. Our league, we're kind of more physical with like being in the paint and stuff. Their league, they get up and down, so it'll be good just to see how it goes.
Well, from Hoggard's perspective, it's going to be a fun game, and he is one of the players Izzo feels needs to step up in order for MSU to make a run. The junior point guard has experienced his fair share of highs and lows this season, and not just from a performance standpoint. He and Izzo tend to butt heads every now and then, but as you'll hear, it's all for the better. See you soon.
If you ask me, he has a chance to still be really, really, really good. I told him once that, AJ, one of the problems is you're really stubborn. And I'm really stubborn. We wouldn't be a good mix for marriage. You know, that wouldn't go over big. Him figuring out how to listen to what we're saying and yet still have the cockiness and the little arrogance, that every great quarterback needs to have is the balancing act.
In the quarterfinal game against Ohio State in Chicago at the Big Ten tournament, Michigan State junior point guard A.J. Hoggard didn't necessarily have the performance Tom Izzo would have liked to have seen out of his, quote, quarterback, and it led to a lengthy discussion on the bench between the two. In his 29 minutes of play, Hoggard had 2 assists and turned it over twice. It's not the kind of play Izzo wants nor expects out of his point guards, and it's a position he demands a lot of. It's the way it's always been, and Friday's convo in Chi-Town isn't the first time the two have had the chance to have a little chat about his performance on the floor.
Just a regular conversation. He was just trying to motivate me to play better. You know, as the point guard here, you're held to a high standard, and sometimes you're not playing bad. You're not playing as well as you should be, and you're frustrated at yourself. And sometimes the coaching, you don't want to, be bothered by it sometimes. Not in a bad way. I wasn't playing my best, so it was just one of those moments. Coach just being coach, coaching me up, and I just was ready to go back in the game so I can go back and respond.
Well, before leaving for Columbus, Izzo made a point to mention how MSU will need Hoggard to step up if it wants to make a run. In fact, Izzo said he needs him to step it up a lot, especially from a defensive standpoint, which he knows he's capable of doing. Just look back on the Penn State game when he held Jalen Pickett to 13 points. Our Haley Schoengart had the opportunity to sit down with AJ about his ever-evolving relationship with Izzo. And contrary to what others see, Hoggard really does embrace it with open arms, right, Hey?
Yeah, Odd, he definitely embraces it because he grew up idolizing some of the greats like Mateen Cleaves and Magic Johnson. Hoggard is searching for a way to get his legacy and name in with that elite company, and it's taken him a little while to realize that Izzo is only trying to do the same.
You had a really strong sophomore season, but this year you've really kind of kicked it up a notch. What did you do in the off season, not only to prepare all of the stuff needed on the court, but also with your mind and your body and emotionally to get ready to kind of put on the performance you've put on this year so far?
I just know I had to take another step for the team, and I just kind of doubled what I did going into my sophomore year and took a different approach. I know I was going to be in a bigger role this year for the team, and I had to step up at all costs. So I just took it day by day, just in here working on my game, my body, and just never getting too high or too low with it, knowing that there's going to be ups and downs. I can't expect me to come out and just do the things that I've done every night, because there's going to be ups and downs with it. So just kind of staying level-headed with the ups and the downs, and just continuing to trust in my work and letting it all show on the court.
What's it like being a point guard at Michigan State? You know, a role that Tom Izzo has had high hopes for years.
It's really hard at times, to just be totally honest with you, but it's fun at the same time. You get to play at a point guard spot at a prestigious program for a prestigious coach, and get to learn from him. So just being out there at that spot and learning from him each and every day, and just growing, and being here after the guys that came through here, and getting an opportunity to put my name up there with theirs if I do what I'm supposed to do. And it's just fun and exciting to know what can come with it.
Did you always kind of have that leadership skill set in you, or is that something you really had to discover when you got here to Michigan State?
I think I always had it. I think I didn't know. That was some of the things that Coach told me, that I have a voice and I need to use it, and kind of selfishly if I don't, because he trusts me with my voice. So I had to grow. We had countless conversations about me being a leader, and I'm just using my voice and trusting my knowledge that I have, and just extending it to the guys. And being an extension of him, it's kind of difficult at times, because you just sometimes get caught in the moment and just sitting back and just letting him take over a lot of things. And just being extension of the court this year makes it a lot easier for all of us. Of the guys, we trust one another. They trust me, so it's definitely easier being a leader this year for the guys.
Is there a moment that sticks out where everything kind of clicked of, like, this is the role he wants me to take, I need to take it? Yeah, a couple game situations, just him showing me times where I could have been better with just leading and dictating what's going on in the game at that time, especially being the point guard, the guy with the ball majority of the game, and the extension of him. So just doing a better job in that sense of just leading and directing things, if that's late game, if that's offense or defense, just doing a better job and holding guys accountable. So that's definitely what our conversation's been about. Is it hard getting feedback from him? Things that you really don't want to hear, but he has to tell you? Nah. I don't think it's really hard. I think coach is going to be coach, and he's going to coach. So he's definitely going to tell you when you're doing good and tell you when you need to pick it up a little bit. And he doesn't have a problem with doing that, because at the end of the day, he wants the best for you. So, and we all want to win. So definitely taking the constructive criticism from him and him dishing it out is definitely easy for him. And what are some things that you took from your experience playing on the East Coast that you've really kept true to your heart here at Michigan State? I just say bringing toughness. That's what Coach strives about, playing with toughness. So just bringing my toughness with me everywhere I go. That definitely gets you in the door, and also bringing your game as well. Got to have a game that travels. So I just think bringing my toughness and my game was definitely something that I kept with me. You kind of listed off some of the greatest point guards, not only when you talk about basketball, but definitely when you talk about Michigan State basketball. Where do you want your name to be when people talk about the greatest point guards to ever don the green and white? I was going to be in the conversation. It'd just be an honor to be mentioned with those guys. It's a lot of greats, a lot of great guys that came through here and did a lot of great things after they left here. So just being able to be mentioned with those guys in that conversation, it'd definitely just be an honor. Hogarth knows what is expected of him on both sides of the ball come high noon on Friday. Izzo said he loves the East Coast swagger he brings to the table, and despite their disagreements, they are just two competitive guys trying to figure out the best way to help their team win.
All right, thank you, Haley. Well, there's no doubt about it. Great guard play over the years in East Lansing has lifted Michigan State to its 8 Final Four appearances. But when it comes to Spartan forwards, Izzo knows MSU cannot win the weekend without this guy. A healthy Malik Hall would make all the difference for the Spartans. And you're going to hear from the senior who has had a very close family member help him keep everything in perspective this season. See you soon.
I think Malik is a big key. I told him that this morning, so I said I'm going to let everyone know that I think he's a big key, and I don't think that's pressure on him. I think it's just it's a privilege. It's an honor that I think he's got to be one of the guys that plays well if we're going to advance in this tournament.
Senior forward Malik Hall is one of Michigan State's most versatile players, and it's why Tom Izzo believes he could be a difference maker for the Spartans. His road to March hasn't been the smoothest. After a strong first 4 games of the season, Hall started feeling pain in his left foot and was diagnosed with a stress reaction. He missed 8 games throughout November and December because of it, and then after 5 games back, he had to sit out another 3 games in late January when his injury flared up again. It's why he hasn't been fully healthy or 100% this season, but right now Hall does believe he's getting back to full strength when it matters most. The other challenging part to this year for him has been the health of his father, Lorenzo. Hall opened up to our Ian Kress about his dad's daily battle with dementia, and it put a lot of things into perspective for him this year, wouldn't you say?
Hey Audrey, a couple weeks prior to Michigan State's Senior Day on March 4th, Hall's father had to go to the hospital due to a mishap with his medicine. Lorenzo Hall has battled dementia since Malik was 9 years old, and having his father at Senior Day was a key reason Malik was able to brush off a few injuries on the basketball court.
He's just an elite scorer, has struggled on this end though. Michigan State's got to make it.
We'll go back to Senior Day for you against Ohio State. You get to celebrate with your family, obviously get a win. So what was that like to have your family there for you on Senior Day?
My dad just got out of the hospital not too long ago, so it was very exciting that he could make the trip down. And even kind of just watching from years past, like all the family members, just being there to celebrate like one day. I think it's something that's beautiful because family plays a big role, especially when you're at a high level of basketball. So it was definitely something that was great for me.
And when did you realize or find out that your dad was going to be able to make it after he was in the hospital a couple weeks prior?
I found out like pretty early on. Like once he got released from the hospital, my mom told me that he was going to be able to come because he was feeling better. So it was a good thing.
How much have you been, keeping up with what he's been going through and all that while you're going through the season you're having right now?
Obviously, I keep up with it pretty often because it's my dad. I got to. My mom also does a good job of kind of informing me, not telling me too much, but telling me enough so that I'm not like worried or anything. So most of it's all really hers. She's got the brunt of everything.
Going through your freshman, sophomore, junior year, seeing all the other guys go through Senior Day, is it kind of what you expected? Obviously, you get the win, you kiss the Spartan head, and then the post-game ceremony.
Honestly, like watching other people go through it, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it was. And then kind of like when it happened, I was just like standing back there in the tunnel, and I was like, oh. Like I'm just standing here, like it's not really much, like I thought it, but it was definitely something that was great, I really enjoyed it, definitely a lifelong memory.
This season you've had, obviously maybe not the one you would have dreamed of as a senior with the injuries, but what has this year been like for you trying to get through the injuries that you have had to deal with?
Trying to hold my head high, making sure I'm stacking my days, doing all the work that I can to just get healthier and healthier as I go on. And also kind of just trying to be the best teammate that I can, whether I was playing or I wasn't playing. This season really has taught me a lot about myself and a lot about how to be a better leader and how to be a better teammate, specifically when you're not really on the floor.
Did seeing maybe what your dad went through when you were younger help you in a way mentally going through what you were going through with your injuries? I know it's different, but did that help at all, knowing like, okay, it's not the end of the world for you?
Yeah, I think it quite honestly just puts a lot of things in perspective, just because seeing what he goes through on a daily basis and kind of what my mom go through, it just like a little 1-month injuries wasn't really much, to be honest. So it just kind of put a lot of things in perspective for me.
Seems like sports is a big part of your family. Just how would you say that has brought you together with your parents and your sister as well?
I kind of honestly think it's really like the glue for the most part. Obviously, my dad coached when I was younger. He trained both me and my sister when we were younger. My mom's worked in sports for 20+ years, so I mean it's really just like we find a bond kind of over the sports world and just different basketball games or even like football games and things like that.
Coach was saying that he wants this group to get a banner. Obviously with you and Joey, you were a part of that 2020 Big Ten championship team. For you now being a senior and having a bigger role with this group, how much would that mean to you to get one as a senior, a banner?
It obviously would mean a lot because I think just everybody who's been here has kind of been through the wars. And we've been through a lot, so I think not only just for us, but for Spartan Nation as a whole, I think it would be a very big deal.
Even though Malik went through senior day already, he still has an opportunity to come back for a 5th season due to the COVID year when he was a sophomore. So Audrey, if MSU can't raise a banner with 2023 on it, 2024 is still an option for Hall.
Yes, it is. Well, due to having to sit out so many games this year, Hall's offensive numbers are down, but that is not the case for graduate forward Joey Hauser. We sit down with him after the break.
Just being more aggressive, you know. I've talked about it a lot, just stepping up, looking for my shot, not kind of just existing out there. So we got the ball moving a little better second half as well, so that helped.
After the under-8 media timeout, Izzo was saying that when you sat down in the huddle and they had put 1,000 points on the scoreboard, did you not know that you had eclipsed that milestone?
I had no clue. I didn't know where I was at, so it definitely caught me by surprise.
Back on December 10th against Brown, MSU graduate forward Joey Hauser eclipsed the 1,000-point mark in his career in the green and white. And ever since, his ability to score has continued to blossom. Hauser leads everyone on the team from the field and from three with his shooting percentage. And his 13 threes are more than everybody else. It's the season he always envisioned himself having when he transferred to MSU from Marquette. Right, Haley?
That's exactly right on. Creating the year he envisioned for himself is one of the big reasons Hauser stayed for a 5th year. And this season wouldn't be what it is if he didn't pay a visit to the shot doctor before the season. Last year, you averaged just around 7 points per game. You're now around 14 this season. What changed from last season to this season?
Honestly, I think it's just kind of the circumstances are different. I mean, I'm playing more. I have a bigger role. I put in a lot of work in the offseason. You know, I always do, but I just really just trusting in what the work that I put in. I lost a little bit of weight so I could play more minutes, you know, be healthy around this time of year. Really just, you know, the coaching staff needed more of me, and if I was going to come back and play another year, I was going to have to score the ball and look for my own shot.
What exactly did you do in the offseason as far as like working out, your diet, that regimen to get you ready for this season?
I've always had a good diet. I've always ate pretty well. I'm pretty conscientious about that stuff, but I really put in a lot of work with my dad when I wasn't here, just always working on stuff, and I like to call him the shot doctor. He's 2 for 2. I mean, my brother's a really good shooter as well. His sister was a good shooter, so just a lot of work with him, working on, you know, different types of shots, working on, you know, full sprint shots, coming off of screens, whatever it might be, things that I wasn't used to, so to make it more game-like. So when I got to the season, I was ready for, you know, defenders flying at me or coming off pin downs and shooting the ball. So just, I mean, I give a lot of credit to him, and obviously when I'm here in the summer, and our GAs, our managers, our coaches do an incredible job just working us out.
You mentioned kind of your mindset going from when you missed shots last season, you could see it in your face. You were depleted. This season, missed shot, next play. When did you make that switch?
I think a big part of it was just trusting like the work that I put in. Really just came in this year just like, look, I've done all the work I can do, so why is there any pressure on myself to go out and perform? You know, I've already put in the work. I don't have to worry about that. So it just, you know, it comes back to confidence. That's a huge part of basketball. And just, you know, when you shoot the ball, when you're a shooter, you got to think next shot. You know, next one's going in, next one's going in.
Coach Izzo, when you first came in, raved about how you were one of the best shooters in collegiate basketball, but it really kind of took until this season for everyone sitting in the stands to kind of see that in you. Why do you think it took so long for you to believe that, to then show it off to the fans?
I mean, it's not easy when you sit out a year and you know, you listen to outside noise like, you know, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. That's not easy, especially in the age we live in where social media is crazy. So definitely I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself. And it just, I don't know, I think I just kind of finally found a good area where I feel good about it. I'm not worried about what other people think, and I'm just, obviously, you know, there is a process. Like I said, you got to spend time in this program, you got to pay your dues and kind of learn your way and find your way. And I've done that, but I think it might have happened a little later than I wanted to, but you know, this is I'm having the time of my life right now, so no, it was worth it.
What made you want to come back for this second year? I mean, you did kind of all of the senior things, but What was the turning point that made you want to just do one final victory lap in East Lansing?
I didn't really have any other options, so just figured might as well come back and play college basketball. I mean, it's a pretty good fallback option, but I mean, I think deep down I wanted to. Coach didn't have to do much convincing. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I think because I've had the year that I guess I kind of envisioned I wanted to have, it's going to feel a lot better. Last year I felt like if I would have been done, it would have been kind of like, man, I kind of left a lot out there. I didn't have any expectations really about points or rebounds, whatever it might have been. I just wanted to not have any regrets.
After some lackluster shooting in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinal, the Spartans will need a whole lot of that Joey Hauser basketball to be played if they want a deep tournament run and another national title banner in the rafters.
Yes, they will. Well, thank you, Haley. And who better to talk about the Spartans' potential to raise another title banner than Mr. March himself. Holding his players accountable is what has made the Spartans the national powerhouse they are today in the NCAA tourney. And it's one of many things Izzo and I discussed after the break.
I tease them all the time. I say, every time I go to my house and I pass your house, like I pinch myself and say, "There's Tom Izzo's house," and he's like, "Oh, come on." But he's a living legend.
With a national title and 8 Final Four appearances in his back pocket, Tom Izzo is a Hall of Famer for a reason. But with his 25 straight appearances in the big dance, he truly is in a league of his own, or as Tucker put it this week, a living legend. And it's where we begin part 1 of our chat. First of all, happy March.
Happy March. March is still the greatest month of the year. I want you to know that.
We will always know that. And it's a good thing.
It is.
There was so much, and this will continue to be a major storyline as you guys embark on the tournament this year. But with you being able to break Mike Krzyzewski's record for NCAA tournament appearances all time at 25, you have a good relationship with Mike. Did he reach out to you? Have you talked to him?
No, I haven't talked to him. Usually, but he had texted me the week before, and he stays in touch. But I don't know if anybody really looks at that. I mean, it was like our own people did, and somebody mentioned it to me, and it wasn't something that I went into the year thinking about. It just happened, but it's pretty cool because what it does is just talks about consistency, and that's kind of what we all want. When I look back, I think still the proudest I am is that we didn't dodge anybody. We played good schedules. We played in a tough conference, and only maybe 2 times was I really sweating out the last week, and that does make me feel good. It makes me feel like the players I had bought in, and then they helped maintain it. The coaches I had bought in, and then they helped maintain it. And when you got that kind of culture, the fans, I mean, I've told people, the fans this year won us a couple games at home. Over the years, I bet you the fans average winning you 2-3 games at home a year. Well, that's the difference in getting into the tournament and not. So everybody's involved in this. I hope everybody enjoyed it, but the real part of it that matters is consistency.
What were the 2 times then you were sweating it out?
A couple years ago. I mean, I don't think we were never the last one in, but a couple years ago when we were playing game because I think TV wanted UCLA and Michigan State. And then there was one earlier in my career I can hardly remember. I forget about those times. I enjoy the other 23.
Right, the Final Four appearances.
There you go. Now you got it.
Yes. That Sweet 16 trips.
Yep.
You mentioned consistency, which has, got your program to this point in the first place. What player do you need to be the most consistent that they have been all season for you as you get to ready for USC?
Realistically, I swear to you, I think there's 2, and that's never good. But one is AJ, of course, because he has times when he's very consistent and very good. He has times when maybe too many turnovers or defense isn't as good, and he's capable of it. So he is really important, and he plays the quarterback position. And as we've learned, it's so much simpler to look at it in football. Although when you've had a Magic Johnson and a Mateen Cleaves here, you realize what they did and how they elevated the programs to an elite level. I think we know around here how important it is. As a coach, you always want more. You're never satisfied. And that's okay. It's okay. And I think he's going to get there, you know. So after Friday, we didn't think he played very well. So we talked about it. We went through sessions. We had meetings in here. We had meetings in my office. That's what you do, you know. I don't know why that spooks people out. It's just, that's part of the learning process. You know, you probably never flunked a class in high school, but if you did, or elementary school, your teacher probably brought you in and told you what you did wrong and what you got to do right and how you got to get better. But when it's done in front of people, everybody looks at it differently. The other guy, I think, is Malik. Malik brings something to the table. There's no question the other day he wasn't the same Malik. The problem is when you've been injured and you are going through things, your body telling you what to do, but sometimes your mind is telling your body to take a hike, you know? I'm not stupid. At least, I don't think I am. A lot of people might, but I don't. But I know what he has to give. And sometimes it's my job to get it out of him on a consistent basis. Sometimes that doesn't always, you don't always see eye to that. But man, I got a lot of great people that I look back on, didn't see eye to eye with him, didn't see eye to eye with him. Look at how it turned out for him and for me. So that's what we're looking at with AJ. AJ's got a ceiling to get to. He gets to that ceiling. We're going to be better. He's going to be better. He's going to be playing basketball after college, and I'm going to get more banners home.
Well, you have mentioned several times when it comes to your relationship with him, and he's mentioned sometimes too that, yeah, you do have moments where you really butt heads.
Yeah.
And you may have seen that in the game against Ohio State at the Big Ten tournament.
You know, let me say this on that. I didn't think so. Because I went down there, normally I'm more ranting and raving, but I've changed. I mean, I know you don't believe that, but I have. So I just went down there and had a conversation. And then when the conversation doesn't go as like you want it to, the old me would have ranted and raved.
Yeah.
The new me just walked away. And that is what you saw. You didn't see anything else. You didn't see anything change. And sometimes, you know, when you do that with somebody, a good friend, a wife, a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, walking away is worse than it is having it out.
Getting his players to focus and listen is something Izzo stressed with his team on Sunday night after they found out who they were playing come this Friday. And when we come back, Izzo shares how there's a player on USC's roster who gives him Larry Bird vibes. Welcome back to March to Glory. In his 28 seasons at the helm of Michigan State's basketball program, Tom Izzo has never lost sight of his mantra to play anyone, anytime, anywhere. And it's where we begin part 2 of our chat.
You've had the opportunities to be 2 seed and go to Final Four, 7 seed, go to a Final Four. That's what a lot of people love about the tournament, is that it's open really for anyone to make a run. And so what else too, other than having consistency out of AJ and Malik, makes you feel that this team is ready for, or could make a run?
Well, you know, over the years, as you said, you know, we have done it from different, and that gives me confidence. Unfortunately, those guys might not have been there then, so they have to trust and believe in me or in my staff who have gone through it. But kids have a tendency, and players and all people have a tendency, unless they've gone through it themselves, they don't have the same feel. I look at what we've done defensively most of this year. It's been good enough. I look at what we've done offensively this last month. It's been great. If somehow I can put the two together, that's how you make long runs. You know, we've kind of navigated through some different things in a very tough conference. And for the most part, you know, you look at that game at Iowa, and it was an outlier. You know, that might not ever happen again if my team wasn't even on the court. I'm not sure they'd make some of those shots.
Right.
And they did, and that's what happened. So learning from those things and doing a better job. And in that game, you know, there were some things I wasn't happy with my team against Ohio State. there was some things I wasn't happy with me and my staff at Iowa. So that got addressed early the next morning. And so it's the same, you know, like an AJ will think, or you might think, or somebody else might think I'm hard on them. You should see how I am on myself. And that Sunday after the Iowa game, not a good day. You know, wasn't upset with one player. I was upset with me. Didn't get through to things that I needed to get through to, whether we're doubling down, whether we're not, what we're doing. Didn't handle those things very well. And so that was addressed the next day. So, you know, anybody that thinks the coach is perfect, there's not one that's ever has been or never will be. And the same with players. But do you address the things that you didn't do well as a player or as a coach? Well, that's what I'm trying to do here.
This matchup is exciting for a lot of reasons, just because it's sort of a prelude to what's to come in the future from a conference standpoint. Why do you think that this is a good first round matchup for not only that reason, but just facing USC in general and West Coast team coming in and the allure from that standpoint?
I'm really concerned for Magic Johnson because I know he's going to have a lot of bets out there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure he makes money, doesn't lose money. So now that it's legal, I know he's going to have a whole slew of them. You know, I was on with Keyshawn Johnson this morning, and he's a big USC guy. So I'm sure Irvin, I'm a little worried about right now. But why I think it's going to be good is, first of all, two big names. The other thing is the conference that's going to be here in a year or two. That's something intriguing, something for media to talk about, fans to talk about at the water cooler out in LA or in East Lansing or wherever we are. But I think, you know, it's a weird matchup. They're a different team than we are. They're a different team than most we've played. What they are is they're very good defensively. And I don't think people give them enough credit for that, but they're big, but they don't have a dominant center. And that's been something that's hurt us a little bit this year. And so if we play the defense I think we can, and we get back to moving the ball offensively, and in other words, things we've already done, we've got to do them on a consistent level, then I feel good about this matchup. I really don't care about the USC coming into the Big Ten in a year. I'm gonna do like my kids do, my own two kids. They live in the moment now. They don't live in the past, they don't live in the future, they live in the moment. I'm living in the moment.
I'm glad you brought up Magic, because you also mentioned how Drew Peterson has some Larry Bird type qualities, you feel.
Well, he has the ability to, at 6'9", to shoot it and to pass it. And he's maybe even a better passer than he is a shooter. And I've been very impressed with him.
Well, have fun in this most recent run in March.
You know what? I hope all the people out there enjoy it. This team is maybe not your typical Michigan State team, but for the most part, a pretty connected team it's been, and for the most part, a fun team to coach. If we ever, you know, as we get healthier and you know, if we get Malik back, you know, I think this team could make a run, you know. That's what it's all about. Unfortunately, as we're learning, the seeds don't matter anymore, the games matter, and you know, you're good enough to make a run and you're good enough to get beat the first game, and that's the challenge. So we'll see if we can do that, and maybe if we move on, we'll have another show.
I know. That's the benefit of it. Because that's all that I know. That's all you're looking forward to is another show.
The only thing I'm looking forward to.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Well, the last time MSU advanced to the Sweet 16 was the 2018-19 campaign on its way to the Final Four in Minneapolis. Izzo definitely cut a few nets down that season, and we're going to relive some of the most magical moments when we come back. The NCAA tournament has provided Tom Izzo with some memorable moments, so as the Spartans embark on their 25th straight appearance in the Big Dance, we'll end tonight's show with a trip down at memory lane. Thanks for spending the past hour with us, and hey, bring on the madness.
We're gonna finish it. We're gonna finish it.
I feel honored to represent our school and our city and our state.
I'm hoping everybody embraces us. We're going to embrace them. And Detroit, here we come.
To win this just for him and all we've been through all year. Hope Coach Izzo get another one feels even better. You know, I love Coach Izzo. I'd do anything for him. I know he'd do anything for me. And
if they felt that way, that's awesome. You know, because there's things I want for them too. I want them to fulfill their dreams and goals.